Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Day, and I'm the author of Choosing the Win-Win Playground, 6 Healthy Habits for Positive Change. And this morning I was writing a section of my second book, which will likely be called Choosing the Win-Win Playground, Intentional Parenting Practices. And so through my 30 years experience of being an occupational therapist and craniosacral therapist, one of the things that I have learned is that so much of being a healthy parent to our children has to do with healing our relationships that we've had with our own parents. And so what we're going to do is we're going to tune into the energetic imprint of the very first moment that our parents became aware of our existence when we were in utero. And you don't need to intellectually know your parents' response. You may have had a conversation with them, they may have shared that with you or not. You might not even know your parents, and all of that is okay. What we're going to do is we're going to invite that moment, the felt sense of that moment, both physically and emotionally, to emerge gently in our awareness, in our nervous system. And we're going to do that while holding a circle of love around ourselves. So we get to re-experience that moment, witness it, but we're witnessing it in a new environment. We're witnessing it with the circle of love. So I'm going to facilitate the circle of love first. And to do that, what we're doing is we're opening up our second chakras, our fourth chakras, and our sixth chakras to access the fluid emotional fields of our auric field. So the second level is our personal emotions for ourselves. So we're going to be opening up to receive personal love. We're going to connect with our fourth level of our field, which is the compassion that we have between individuals, between consciousness, and so we'll open up that up to fully receive. And then the sixth level of our field is divine spiritual love. And for me, it's much easier to connect to divine spiritual love than it is to the other two. So I'm going to start with that. And how I connect that divine spiritual love is to tune in to my sixth chakra. And I connect in not to the front aspect, but right into the middle of my brain. And I envision an X right in the middle of my brain, which helps open up my sixth chakra. And as I do that, my body's already relaxing. You can see I had a sigh sign. And then I'm inviting divine love to come in, and I start to see the opalescent, sparkly light of divine love. Now I first feel it coming in through my sixth chakra, but what I'm doing is I'm inviting it to come in through all of my chakras, really especially into my root chakra. And as I start to feel my body relax, I'm starting to feel my shoulders relax as I'm inviting that in. It's interesting, I'm actually getting a little bit of increased tension on the right side of my chest, so I'm just witnessing that, continuing to invite divine love in. And when I feel that flow, I can really feel it in through my root chakra. My second chakra is having a little bit more difficulty with that, just inviting that to open up. There we go. My third chakra. There we go. Fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So as I'm opening to receive equally through my front and back chakras, top and bottom, I'm then going to move in to connect in through my heart chakra into the astral field of compassion. And the color of that compassionate love is pink. So I'm envisioning the pink, really opening myself up to receive that. And for me, I have a really close connection to my dogs, so it can be helpful for me to connect to the love I have and the love I receive from my dogs. And that really helps the pink flow in. And so I'm still holding the presence of the divine love. And as I'm opening to the pink, I'm allowing those two to mix together. And I start seeing this pink sparkly light. So I am here and I'm feeling the pink light flowing in, mixing with divine love. So as the two mix together, the pink light becomes sparkly. And I'm inviting it to come in through my root chakra, both the front and the back of my second chakra, in through my third chakra. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. There we go. Coming in through my fourth chakra, my heart chakra. And then up through my fifth, my sixth, and my seventh. So now I'm feeling the circle of love around myself. I'm feeling my ability to receive both divine love and the compassionate love of the consciousness around me. And now I'm going to sink into my my second chakra, my sacral chakra, and I'm connecting into the second level of my field, which is my personal emotions. And we had set this intention to heal some of the aspects of our relationship with our parents. And I'm just noticing there's just a lot of bubbling of emotions right here. But I'm really focusing on love as I'm creating this circle of love. And so I'm inviting love to come in, and our personal love is orange. And so I'm inviting that orange to come in through my sacral chakra, through my root chakra, up into my third chakra, front and back, fourth chakra, fifth. And I really feel a block at the back of my fifth chakra, so I'm just going to sit here with this. And I'm doing this a little bit quickly because I was writing about this morning and going through this process a couple times. So, but there's always something new that comes forward the next level of healing. And then now I'm going up to my 6th and my 7th. And so as I'm opening up to personal love, one of the things that can be really helpful is to think about the things that you do that bring you joy. I went for an amazing bike ride this morning. So lovely. Sat and had a conversation with my husband as we drank coffee at a local coffee shop. Just connecting. So as I'm feeling that flow of the orange, I'm then inviting that orange to mix with the 4th level of the field, with the pink, which creates a salmon color. And just inviting that salmon to flow in, creating this circle of love. It's just receiving the love that's around us, right? We're just opening, clearing our armor, allowing ourselves to receive. And then again, inviting that divine love to mix. So then we have this salmon sparkly light, and we're just receiving that. And I can just feel my body relaxing as I go into a deeper level of receiving. So now that we have this circle of love around ourselves, we're going to invite our consciousness, our energetic consciousness, to show us the moment that first, when our own mothers became aware of our existence. And so, for many of us, this happens somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks after conception. Sometimes it's later, sometimes it's earlier. It doesn't really matter when it happens. But it can, our nervous systems are developing, and so our parasympathetic nervous system, which is under stress, our freeze and flaccidity responses, and then under the non-stressed parasympathetic states are rest and relaxation, rejuvenation. And so that nervous system, as that's developing, can be affected by the emotional response of our parents' awareness. If they become aware of our existence in that 4 to 8 weeks after conception. Around 8 weeks after conception is when our sympathetic nervous system develops. And so that's more of our fight-flight, under stress, and when a non-stressed state, it's our inspiration, our wonder. And so as you're noticing, so we're just going back, we're starting with our mother, we're inviting that moment in our consciousness when our mother became consciously aware of our existence. And so this time when I do it, I'm feeling the emotion. I'm feeling what I'm perceiving as this like unknowingness, like my mom not trusting herself in what's going on. And I feel this tightness in my chest physically. And so when I did it this morning, it was interesting. I just felt sort of this sort of bubbly kind of lots of little tension patterns throughout my body. So I'm having a different response this time as I do the exercise. Right, and I'm trusting that my inner wisdom knows what's right for me to clear at this moment. And also I'm doing this as a model for you, so I'm holding the intention that what I'm doing is supporting all of your processes as well. And for those of you who can see energy in my awareness too, I see these two columns of energy on the sides of my field, which I become aware of when there's an ancestral component to what's going on. So my energy field is just telling me that this piece that's coming up for me right now also has an ancestral component. And so I'm just witnessing this. I'm not trying to change it, but I'm also aware that I'm holding the circle of love for myself. So by creating the circle of love, as I'm engaging with this moment of time in my energetic consciousness, I'm changing the experience. And as I say that, as I'm talking about this, I can feel the tension in my chest releasing. And so as our energetic tension patterns release, while this is stuck energy, our energy that has been held in a holding pattern, and so it gets the opportunity, I feel it flowing into my central channel and start bubbling up, and then it just then becomes more available to me. I notice that I'm breathing easier. And so instead of going into the pattern with my father, I'm going to stay with this pattern, this maternal pattern, because it feels like there's a big ancestral component here. So part of this isn't just my mom's response to becoming aware of me, but my grandmother's response to becoming aware of my mother. Now, the egg that became me was already developing in my mother around the time that my grandmother became aware of her existence, right? So this is a really important piece to just witness and hold that circle of love. And this is something that I have cleared before in the past. But there's a piece here, again, I'm just feeling this tension pattern. It feels like there's a piece around my gut that's clearing. I'm feeling the flow of energy into my central channel. And I can just feel how it's like physically, I've got this like pinging in my bladder that's going on too. So I'm just witnessing this, holding my circle of love. Feels like doing some deep breathing will help it clear. And when I breathe, I'm really helping myself stay in the parasympathetic, the rest and relaxation, by making sure that my out breath is a couple seconds longer than my in breath. And this piece around the bladder is really interesting because as it's clearing, it's still clearing. I can feel that this is an ancestral component. And this is really interesting because it feels like there's a piece here that stimulated this whole process of me writing these books. Last December on Christmas Eve, I almost died. Ended up, my colon ruptured, and I ended up having emergency surgery. I was in the hospital for 13 days, and I have a colostomy bag now, which will be, I will be having the reversal in a couple weeks. So, so it feels like there's this ancestral component here around the colon as well. So this is great that this is clearing as I'm preparing to have my sigmoid colon and reconnected. So wonderful. And I'm feeling as this is clearing, right? I'm feeling this flow of energy and love up and down both sides of my ancestral lines of energy. Yeah, beautiful. So a bunch of things just cleared in my own system. I hope you notice things clearing in your own system as well. And then what I like to do is slowly bring my energetic pattern back to present. And what I'm doing is I cleared a bunch of patterns that started in utero in my energetic field as in response to not only my mom's response to me, but that generational pattern, energetic pattern of each of, my mother's mother and her mother's mother and her mother's mother and her mother's mother, their response to becoming a mother. And so this has changed because I've been holding this circle of love for myself, which wasn't, as healthy as it is now, and at that moment. And so I'm slowly now inviting this new pattern to move developmentally, right, through utero, be present, this healthier pattern to be present during my birth, to be present throughout my childhood. And then I'm just noticing and I'm not being super specific, but I'm just sort of inviting it to go through. I notice I get to sort of this period. My brain is telling me I'm about 6 years old. I feel this anxiety, this tension in my chest. I'm just going to take a breath, out breath longer than my in breath. Right, still holding that circle of love, allowing it to clear. And then continue. I feel like I'm in my teenage years. Right, another, again, tension, neck, chest, pelvis, feet. Clearing. And I do this a lot, so I tend to clear pretty quickly. Feel free as you go through this practice to spend a little bit more time with yourself. Yeah, and then I just feel like I'm now back bringing this new healthier pattern into my present moment. Blessings to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.